Miyagi Thompson with his speech titled Just Breathe. Just Breathe, God, Mr. Miyagi Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good evening to all of my fellow oxygen lovers. Put up your hand if you enjoy breathing. Even better, take an oversized gulp of your favorite air with me right now. I, for one, have a keen interest in breathing and believe myself to be an expert in the field. I've been doing this for almost 35 years, so I think I know what I'm doing, but this has not always been the case. Everyone knows Superman, right? A hero with amazing superpowers. Faster than a speeding bullet, but he's got one weakness: kryptonite. Give him that, and he curls up into a little ball and can barely do a damn thing. When I was younger, I liked to compare myself to Superman. My superpowers were that I'm incredibly attractive and super modest about it. My weakness, though, my kryptonite, was breathing. Of all the things I could be bad at, I sucked at breathing. After just 18 months of being alive, I was diagnosed with asthma, a chronic respiratory disease that reduces the amount of airflow that goes into your body. Ironically, not being able to breathe can cause you to panic. The more you panic, the more your muscles tighten, the less oxygen that you get. The less oxygen you get, the more you panic. It's a vicious circle for both the patient and the surrounding people, especially the sounds you make while you're gasping for air. There are many ways to fix the immediate threat. There's a drug called cortisone that can immediately relax your muscles, open your airways, and help the patient to breathe. In intensive cases, ventilators are there to help you, which is a machine to purely help you breathe. A nebulizer, which is a small ventilator, and my daily superhero was something called an inhaler. A pocket-sized ventilator pump that came swooping in at the first sight of an asthma attack, before things got serious. This was my daily lifesaver. Why? Because I sucked at breathing, and this made it go better. With the potential threats of not being able to breathe and not always having all the equipment around, even as a young boy, I had to learn how to control my breathing. I needed to learn to slow down. Focus on one pure, intent thought. I just had a breath. Let's go for another one. Calm down. Breathe. You've got some air in. Let's go for another. Relax. Since then, I've never taken breathing for granted and find it soothing when I can take a massive, deep breath in. The good news is that I'm very much over my asthma attacks. Together with my breathing techniques and exercise over the years, I've overcome these obstacles, which is why I am an expert in breathing now. In the last 5 years, a lot has happened in my life. One of the most amazing experiences I have ever had was marrying the love of my life. Bearing that in mind, for anyone going through it, at times it is a harrowing experience. There are times of complete panic. For me, the overwhelming emotions came rushing through while I was standing outside the chapel and 100 people were waiting to see what happens next. I was thrown into a panic and for a brief moment forgot how to breathe. Luckily, a good friend, Brett, who had been through the experience 3 years before, came to my rescue and started to change my focus. Garth, stop. Take a deep breath. See that corsage? See the colors in the rose? Isn't that beautiful? Look at the wooden entranceway. Look at the creaks and the waves in the wood. Take a breath and soak it in. Look at how the layers of wood have come together to form that perfect yet never to be repeated pattern. And just breathe. Little did I know, Brett was making me focus on the small things, making me breathe, calming me down, just like the way I had to do myself all those years back when I had an asthma attack. By doing so, I managed to clear my head, refocus, and throughout my wedding, managed to appreciate the finer details in everything that went on. I got through the wedding and would love to relive every single moment. From my gorgeous wife walking down the aisle, the bagpipes and the kilts that were flowing stronger than the women's dresses, the camaraderie of friends knowing each other for 20 years and sharing the moments, the sword fights, yes, the sword fight, best wedding ever. You might think these are great little story nuggets, but what does this mean for you? Fellow Toastmasters, the longer you stay in this organization, the more often you will hear people say, I can tell you were nervous. In future, stop. Take a deep breath, count to 3, and carry on. This really allows you to regain your focus and you can continue with your speech. This is one of the greatest lessons I can share with you today. Breathing is one of the best techniques to refocus your mind, and you've been doing it for years. With everything spinning, when the world is moving faster than you imagine and you feel as if you can't keep up, just breathe. You will find that a 3-second breath slows down the world completely. Like you've just entered the matrix and a bullet has come rushing towards you, and all of a sudden it slows down to a near stop and you can simply dodge it. Use those 3 seconds to soak in the environment around you and experience everything. This lets you take a step back, an almost out-of-body experience, to feel everything that you are going through from the outside. The frustration, the love, the pain. You connect with yourself on an emotional level. Now here's a hint. If you're giving a speech and are about to start or even get stuck in the middle of it, just breathe. Focus in on the chair that you were sitting on, or the environment around you, the colors, the textures. Look around you. Look into the eyes of the visibly enthralled audience members in front of you. Focus on the contrast between them. Time stands still during that breath, and it lets you get into the crevices of your mind to pull out the next portion of your speech. You can use this technique in every aspect of your life. During this lockdown period, a lot of people are feeling sad, lonely, and depressed. Remember, whenever you feel that way, stop, take a breath, and focus on your surroundings. Appreciate what you have in front of you and the opportunity you've been given to reinvent yourself during this time. As bad as COVID-19 is, this is a time when the world has come together to fight something in unison. We're also giving the world some time to breathe and catch up, because it has been a part of a roller coaster ride since the industrial age, and it hasn't stopped. My advice to the world, just breathe. I know for a fact that my wife and I are going to be using this technique in 2 months' time when our firstborn child is due. She will be breathing profusely during the pregnancy, focusing on the number of breaths, linking that to the contractions, and calming herself down. I will be doing it to make sure I just don't pass out completely and get to focus on the finer things. The pure exhaustion but determination in my wife's eyes. The pure focus the doctor will have in delivery. Soaking in every moment at 1/10 of the speed. All because I just took a breath. I want everyone to just stop for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look left. Smile. Look at your surroundings. Take another deep breath. Look right. Appreciate everything around you. And take one last final big breath and look back into the camera. I've just given you a technique to give you 3 seconds at a pivotal moment in your life. Use this technique wisely and often to help slow the world down and find better ways to live in it. Breathing gives you a superhuman power for just a moment, and your mind gets to catch up. Face it, you most likely don't have asthma, so you don't suck at breathing. Don't let the world be your kryptonite, just breathe. Mr. Toastmaster.